Okay guys, I'm back. Hey there, it's Teacher Marilyn from Teach Marilyn Be Style, and I'm back again already because I wanted to talk to you about modeling. Are you a model? Okay, obviously that's not what I mean. In a classroom, modeling means showing a student exactly what you want them to do. If you want a student to produce some sort of specific output, whether it is speaking in a full sentence, repeating a word properly, doing TPR, if you want them to participate in a very specific way, you have to show them what to do. Honestly, students learn the very best when they are shown what is expected. I feel like this and a few of my other videos have a lot of overlap. I'll link them here anyway, just in case you want to refer to them. But let me just talk about what modeling looks like in an online ESL classroom. When you're introducing a brand new concept to your student, you really want to just break it down to the essential skills. So if you think of this like the first time you learned to drive a car, there were so many different steps that you had to master in order to do this proficiently, right? You think about pressing the gas and pressing the brake and steering and having your hands at 10 and 2. I mean, there's all these different steps. But seeing somebody else do it and then modeling yourself after that is a helpful way to learn. So when you have a very beginner student and they're learning how to pronounce certain sounds, so that's phonemic awareness, it's really helpful to isolate that sound. So if they were practicing the s sound, it's easy for that to get lost in translation through a computer. So make sure you're showing them the formation of your mouth, right? So in this specific example, you would show them that you are keeping your lips open and your teeth together to create that S sound. You could also include a visual. So sun, sun. And then if you want them to repeat that word, use TPR to give them a visual signal that you want them to do something. That way your student will understand your expectations, that you're not just over here making all this noise, you actually want them to listen to the sound, look at your mouth, and repeat it back. But you don't have to say all of those things. If you have an English language learner who's a beginner, you don't want to have all this extra language in there, right? That stuff is called incidental language. You don't need it. It's only going to be confusing. Isolating the sound, pointing to your mouth, and then cupping your ear, just like you see in all the videos like this, that's going to give them all the cues that they need in order to repeat what you want them to repeat. And that's going to show that you've introduced a concept, given them a chance to practice by repeating after you, and then once they see a brand new slide with the same prompt, they can apply what they have learned all within about 2 minutes. Once you've modeled the example for your student, then you want to make sure they apply it. So if the objective is to use the word sun in a sentence, make sure to ask them the question, what is this? And then you allow them to answer, this is the sun. If they still need support that time, make sure to bring it back out throughout the rest of your lesson so that they can practice again. Application of knowledge is so essential for them to really learn a concept. It's really important that your student is able to answer those questions independently. Obviously, not all students are capable of that at every level, so that's where you want to communicate with their parents whether or not they were able to meet that objective. Modeling can also be done with a visual. So for example, I talked about this in my scaffolding video. If you use the chat box or your whiteboard to write out a sentence, that's a visual cue that will give your student exactly what you expect them to say. In my VIPKid classes, I really like to use the chat box because then I can encourage the parents to go back and re-watch our class and pay attention to the chat box, and then they can have their student write down all of the sentences or words that I want them to learn. That extra practice by writing something down and then speaking it aloud is going to help to really cement those ideas into their brain. Now, the way that this actually relates to scaffolding is that you don't want to keep those supports underneath your student the entire time. Modeling is helpful for the introduction of a concept, but during the practice stage, you really want to give your student plenty of opportunity to produce that output on their own. If they then need supports, then you can have them repeat after you again. And then in the final stage, you want them to be able to apply what they've learned. I actually use this exact example in my scaffolding video as well. When you ask a student, what did you do today? And they might answer, oh, today I do my homework. They're probably thinking present tense is for today because that represents now. But because it's something they already completed, I will always remind them, oh, let's try it in past tense. I did my homework. I typically won't have a sentence written out on my whiteboard, but I will type the question, what did you do today? ? And then I did my homework into the chat box. because that way they'll have a frame of reference for the question and answer, and then they've seen me model it visually by typing it out, and they've also heard me say the sentence out loud. That way when I ask them again, okay, ready? What did you do today? And I give them a chance to apply what they've just learned in that first minute of class to answer that question. It is essential that we model for our students. That way they know exactly what to expect and what we want from them. All right, guys, I hope these super quick tips helped. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, leave them in the comments below, and I will be sure to get back to you. Remember to like and share this video, and please subscribe to my channel. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I will see you next Monday. Happy teaching!